Welcome to Spy News. House Dream Interpretations. Islamic dreams about house. Find dream interpretations, meanings and explanations for House Dictionary. Subscribe my channel and click bell icon. Thanks. House Dream Explanation. An old house grumbling on the dreamer will inherit. The apartments of a house or rooms of an apartment symbolize the dreamer's women. According to Christian dream interpreters, says Ibn Sirin, sweeping the floor of one's house means deep worries or sudden death. Others think it is the reverse. A house being demolished, its owner will die. Buying a new house, plenty of welfare. One's house larger than usual, more well-being and fertility. And the dreamer will enjoy welfare through a woman. Carving or decorating a house, quarrels and rivalry will take place in that house. Demolishing a new house, evil and worries. Being in a new, unknown plastered house in an isolated area and hearing some evil talk, a reference to the dreamer's grave. Being kept prisoner in a house in a residential area whose doors are all locked, welfare and good health. House Dream Explanation. If one sees himself tied up and imprisoned inside a house in a dream, it means that he will receive glad tidings, or it could mean good health and prosperity. If one sees himself carrying a house over his shoulders in a dream, it means that he takes care of a needy woman or a wife. If one sees his house made of gold in a dream, it means that a fire will burn it down. If the house has no roof, whereby one can see the skies, sun or moon in a dream, it represents the marriage of a woman from that household. If one sees a big house within his own house in a dream, it means that a righteous woman will live there or move into that family to become a blessing for such a house. House Dream Explanation. Carrying a house will sustain a woman. Reclining on a house, a woman will cater to the dreamer's livelihood. Entering a house and the doors getting locked behind, will refrain from disobeying God in view of a verse in the Holy Quran, and she, in whose house he was, asked of him an evil act. She bolted the doors and said, "Come." He said, "I seek refuge in Allah." Yusuf, Joseph, verse 23. Getting out of a narrow house, worries will be left behind. A house without a roof wherefrom the dreamer could see the sun rising or the moon, a woman will get married therein. Seeing a tunnel under the house, a cunning man, especially if the tunnel was made of concrete or clay, in which case it would mean that the man's wickedness is in the religious field. House Dream Explanation. If there is a tunnel under such a house in the dream, it denotes deception or that a perfidious person is having access to that household. A house without lights in a dream represents a woman of evil character, and if a woman sees that house in her dream, then it represents a man of evil character. Demolishing one's house in a dream means a fight within that family. If one sees grass growing inside his house in a dream, it means a wedding. Also see cage, dwellings, glass house. House Dream Explanation. A bright, well-illuminated house, a polite and virtuous woman. A dark house, an ill-tempered and mean person. Entering a house sprinkled with water, trouble with a woman and worries as much as there was humidity and mud, but which will disappear. House Dream Explanation. As for the door's lock and handle, they symbolize the wife or the servant. The supports of the door are the male children, the slaves or servants, or the brothers and assistants. For Ibn Sirin, the keyhole is the dreamer's ear, meaning probably the house servant who reports everything to the master. The unknown house is the hereafter, especially if it has a revealing name like Darussalam, the house of peace. A sick person seeing himself in an unknown house, will die peacefully. A healthy person seeing himself in an unknown house, 1. Will go to Mecca, Makkah. 2. Will engage in jihad or holy struggle. 3. Will become ascetic. 4. Will acquire learning. 5. Will endure hardships with stoicism. 6. Will give alms. Building a new house. 1. If ill, the dreamer will recover and become healthy. 2. If there's a sick person in the house, that person will recover, unless the dreamer is in the habit of burying the dead in his house, in which case the new house would mean the tomb of that patient. The same bad interpretation would apply if the house was built in an impossible place, if it was painted in white, or if funereal flowers were seen in the dream. 3. If a bachelor, the dreamer will get married. 4. The dreamer will find a husband for his daughter and let her stay with him, if the girl is old. 5. The dreamer will have a concubine. House dream explanation. An iron house, its owner will have a lot of prestige and live long. A house made of gold, fire will break out there. Coming out angry from one's house, will go to jail in view of a verse in the Holy Quran, and, mention, done none. 30 When he went off in anger and deemed that we had no power over him, but he cried out in the darkness, saying, There is no God save thee. Be thou glorified. Lo, I have been a wrongdoer. Al-Anbiya, the Prophets, verse 87. Entering the neighbor's house, will become his confidant, or, if the dreamer is immoral, he will betray the neighbor with his wife and in his livelihood. A bachelor building a house, will marry a high-class woman. Seeing a house from afar, life will give the dreamer what he desires, but far away or after a long time. Entering one's house made of concrete or clay and situated amidst other buildings, will make an honest living. Being ousted from a concrete house and feeling humiliated or diminished in any way, will lose as much in life. House dream explanation. Entering a new house in an identified location, among other houses and with complete amenities but whose owner is unknown. 1. If poor, will get rich. 2. If rich, will get richer. 3. If worried, will be relieved. 4. If having disobeyed God, will repent. If the landlord is known, the dream will apply to him. In case the house was made of concrete or clay, the dreamer's fortune will be blessed. Otherwise, if the house was made of bricks, which entered the fire, the gains would be illicit and sinful. The dimensions of a house, big or small, allude to the dreamer's condition, living comfortably or not, being generous or not, etc. The plastering of the house refers to the dreamer's religion. Its perfection or imperfection is the way he handles matters. Its finishing is his joy. House dream explanation. Whatever happens to houses or apartment blocks in a dream applies to their dwellers in reality. The walls represent men and the ceilings women, as men uphold women. The corridor refers to an influential servant who can solve or complicate matters. A man's house symbolizes his person, his ego, and his body, because it is his address, with which he is identified. Likewise, it alludes to his glory, his name and reputation, and his well-being. It could also refer to his money, which he relies or falls back upon, and his clothes, as he puts them on. In case it represents his body, the gate or door of the house is the dreamer's face. It is easy to imagine what the components of a house refer to, and the house alludes to the wife. Assuming that the house symbolizes his livelihood and money, the door is the source of that livelihood. When we compare the house to a man's clothes, the door is the edge of such clothes. House dream explanation. A sound person building a house with concrete or clay in a place he knows, welfare and benefits. A sound person building a house with concrete or clay in an unknown place, the dreamer will do or has already done something for which he will be rewarded in the hereafter. If the house was built with bricks, gypsum, and lime, it would mean that a sin will be committed or that the dreamer has amassed a fortune through sin and will regret it in the hereafter, owing to the fact that fire plays a major role in the manufacturing of such constructing material. The dream would have a happy ending if the dreamer destroyed the house before waking up. A sick person or someone who has an ill relative or friend building a house, a tomb. A house of unknown construction material in an unknown location and with unknown people, isolated from the rest, the hereafter, especially if dead persons the dreamer knows are seen in it. Entering it means that the dreamer will die, unless he comes out again, in which case it means that he will come near death but escape. An known house dream explanation. If he sees a house which is known to him, it symbolizes his position and condition in this world. Its features, be they pleasant or unpleasant, such as the house being straight or crooked, spacious or narrow, orderly or disorderly, is a reflection of his behavior and character. House dream explanation: cage, dwellings. In a dream, one's house holds different meanings. One of them is the wife. If one sees himself entering his house in a dream, it means that he will get married, or have sexual intercourse with his wife. Building one's own house in a dream means that a sick person will recover from his illness. If such construction is hard and if it is customary in the family to bury its dead within the compound of the same property, then it means the death of a sick person in the family. If no one is sick in the house and the construction is accompanied with music and celebrations in the dream, then it means adversities, trials and hardships. If under such circumstance the person in the dream is unmarried, it means marriage, and if he is married, it means that he will marry off one of his daughters. House dream explanation: the house gate or door is the father of the family. The mortise and tenon symbolize the female and male sexual organs as they fit into each other. Locked together, they represent the husband embracing his wife. By extension, the mortise and tenon could also refer to the couple's two children, a boy and a girl, to two brothers, or to two persons sharing the same house. Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel. Spot news and click bell icon. Thanks. Like and share this video.